Hello, I'm Herrick Kimball, and in this video I'm going to give you a rare gem of financial advice. This is advice that you aren't going to find on any other YouTube channel. This is advice that will help you and your family get through the chaotic, wealth-destroying, inflationary era we are now entering. My advice is to buy plastic. But not just any plastic. Specifically, I recommend that you purchase a large piece of 6mm ultraviolet resistant bunker cover plastic, which is also referred to as a silage tarp. This is a sample of the plastic I'm talking about. Buy a big piece of this plastic while you can still get it. At the end of this video, I'll show you a large new roll of this plastic that FedEx delivered here just today. I'll tell you where I purchased it, what it cost me, and how to safely store it. A large sheet of 6mm UV-resistant bunker cover plastic can make you money in an inflationary crisis, or it can save you money, big money. As you should know, money saved is better than money earned. The reason that money saved is better than money earned is that you have to pay income taxes on money you earn, but you pay no taxes on money you save. Now I'm going to explain to you why this plastic is such a great investment. And what I'm going to tell you is little known and mostly forgotten. No one talks about this. I can find no discussions about this on YouTube, and yet this is genius, and I know it works because I've done it. You begin with a spot of land that is well drained and that gets full sun exposure. Have someone rototill a large section of the ground, then rake it smooth and pick out any large stones on the surface. Once that's done, lay your 6mm UV resistant silage tarp over the soil, then dig a narrow trench about 6 inches deep around the perimeter of the plastic so that you can tuck the edges of the sheet into the trench. Then fill it in. This will anchor your plastic from blowing away in the wind. When you've done that, you will have created a permanent, totally unconventional, totally amazing garden infrastructure in which you can easily grow an abundance of fruits and vegetables for many years to come. Several years ago, I discovered this obscure 24-page self-published booklet titled Gardening Without Cultivation. This book was written by the late Thomas E. Doyle of Washington, Indiana. It was first published around 1975. The book is currently out of print. You might be able to locate a used copy on eBay, but I'm going to give you the basic details. And later, I'll provide a link to an old Mother Earth News magazine article that provides some further details. As I understand the story, back in 1959, Mr. Doyle conceived of the idea of covering the soil in his garden with a large sheet of plastic, like I just explained to you, and planting his crops through small holes cut into the sheet. But back then it was impossible to find heavy black plastic sheeting that was ultraviolet resistant, so it would last for many years in the sunlight without breaking down. So Mr. Doyle found a factory to manufacture the plastic to his necessary specifications. Decades later, the plastic Mr. Doyle couldn't find back in 1959 is commonly available as 6mm UV-resistant agricultural bunker cover plastic. It is, I hasten to say, commonly available as I'm making this video, but with the current worldwide supply problems that we're experiencing, this plastic may be commonly unavailable in the near future. Now I'll tell you the very unusual way Mr. Doyle planted the garden year after year for decades. Keep in mind that the plastic sheet was never removed. It was permanently in place. Mr. Doyle used a bulb planter, a common bulb planter like you see right here. with the end sharpened to make planting holes in the plastic. The planting holes were 2¼ inches in diameter. He made the holes 12 inches apart in rows that were 30 inches apart. Mr. Doyle says in his book that 2¼ inches is large enough for any plant and will not allow very much space for weeds. Mr. Doyle grew melons, squash, tomatoes, onions, peas, cabbages, beets, beans, radishes, parsnips, and just about every other garden vegetable you can think of in the small holes. The black plastic acted as a mulch to suppress any and all weeds from growing beyond the small holes. Better yet, the black plastic captured subsoil moisture that rose through capillary action to the surface and was stopped by the plastic. It was not evaporated away by the sun. The soil is always moist under the black plastic. The captured subsoil moisture was all that the plants ever needed. Tom Doyle never watered his plastic-covered garden, and the crops he planted thrived in this environment. If that isn't amazing enough, Mr. Doyle asserted that he never fertilized the garden and the crops grew better every year. He says this repeatedly through his booklet. That is so counterintuitive that it's almost unbelievable. But Mr. Doyle explains his theory that the uncultivated soil under the plastic develops a vast network of air passages, primarily from wormholes, and the porous soil structure provides plant roots with subsoil air. He asserts in his booklet that abundant air, water, and sunshine are more important to plant growth than fertilizer. Now, I'm not so sure about Tom Doyle's air fertilizer theory, but Mr. Doyle was clearly on to something that agronomists are only now starting to understand. The whole no-till agricultural paradigm that has become so popular in recent years acknowledges the value of undisturbed soil with an abundance of wormhole porosity that provides abundant air to plant roots. Here's a quote from Mr. Doyle's booklet. "I've had peppers out in the same holes for 12 years straight without any fertilizer, and they are producing as large or larger fruit than any other garden I've had." At this point, you should be seeing the incredible value of investing in 6 mil UV resistant bunker cover plastic. I've been an avid gardener since I was 16 years old. I'm 64 years old now. I have an extensive library of gardening books. I pretty much bought them all. I've tried just about all the gardening ideas and techniques out there. But this little booklet revolutionized my approach to gardening. I followed Mr. Doyle's idea, and it worked. Then I modified his approach by enlarging the small holes into 30-inch by 30-inch mini beds. My mini beds are very manageable 5-square-foot garden plots that can be mulched and fertilized with organic products. Each of the mini beds is surrounded by the permanent layer of plastic mulch, which captures subsoil moisture and makes it available to the mini bed crops. 78% of the garden around the mini beds is covered with the heavy plastic. 78% of the garden never needs weeding. I'm now into my 6th season of mini bed gardening experimentation. The 6 mil UV resistant bunker cover plastic is still in good condition. UV sunlight has not damaged it. I have lots of YouTube videos about mini bed gardening. You can find them, just do a search, mini bed gardening. As much as I like my mini bed gardening system, and I don't just like it, I love it. The fact is that Tom Doyle's more simplified system of one big sheet of 6 mil bunker cover plastic perforated with properly spaced rows of 2 1/4 inch holes is all you need for a long-term garden infrastructure that will give you a very productive and very satisfying gardening experience. There's no easier way to plant and grow a garden than Thomas Doyle's Gardening Without Cultivation system. If you'd like to know more about the things I've just told you, I provide 3 resource links in the description of this video. Here's an explanation. First, there is the link to a 1971 Mother Earth News magazine article in which Tom Doyle discusses his Gardening Without Cultivation system. He doesn't present the whole story of how it works, but he gives a lot of details that you will find helpful. Then, I provide a link to Farm Plastic Supply, which is an online source for 6 mil UV-resistant bunker cover plastic. I have no financial connection with Farm Plastic Supply. The link is not an affiliate link. I don't benefit in any way from recommending them here, but this link that I give you is where I purchased this plastic. In fact, heeding my own advice in this video, I just invested in a 24-foot wide by 100-foot long piece of bunker cover plastic from Farm Plastic Supply. I don't need it right now. I may never need it. My current mini bed garden is covered with this plastic, and I expect it to last for many years to come. But I figure this new sheet of plastic is better than money in the bank. If the economy continues to go to heck in a handbasket, I'll probably put in a Tom Doyle garden in a more remote location from my home garden, which is next to my house, which is next to the road. I have a field over the river and through the woods where no one sees or goes. Besides that, I have kids with families of their own who might want to get more serious about gardening, or maybe grandchildren. Bunker cover plastic does not have a shelf life. It keeps. With shipping, I paid $273.84 for the 24-foot by 100-foot piece of plastic from Farm Plastic Supply. It was a small investment for the huge returns it can bring. The third resource link is for my mini bed gardening trilogy, which is a 130-page PDF download that I've put together. The report explains how I started with Tom Doyle's system and how it evolved into the mini bed gardening system that I now garden with. My mini bed gardening report is loaded with 250 photos and a lot of valuable insights about how to get the most from a mini bed garden. It won't cost you a lot of money. It's affordable. If you know of others in your sphere of influence that you think may benefit from this unconventional but very serious financial advice, please share this video with them, and I'll thank you kindly for that. Now, let's go outdoors and I'll show you the roll of bunker cover plastic that was delivered here just this morning. Okay, right here is the box of bunker cover plastic that was delivered today. It's 24 foot by 100 foot is in this. This box weighs 76 pounds. It's quite heavy. You can get bigger pieces of bunker cover plastic, of course, because the bunkers, the silage bunkers, the silage covers needed on farms are enormous. But you can also get smaller sizes. The widths at Farm Plastic Supply start at 10 foot and they go up to 150 foot wide. And the lengths start at 10 foot and they go up in 5 foot increments. So you can kind of dial in what you want and you can get something a lot more affordable and obviously smaller. The other thing I wanted to point out before I open this up and show it to you is that the total cost of this was $199 plus shipping of $74.84. So the total came to $273.84, as I've already told you in this video. And what I want to say about that is that that sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money for a roll of plastic. But think about if this plastic lasts 10 years, which I fully expect it to do. I've got 6 years on it already, and I'm not seeing any degrading of the plastic at all. If it lasts 10 years, you divide that into 273.84 and you come up with $27.38 a year for the benefit that you get from this plastic, capturing the subsoil moisture, suppressing the weeds, for $27.38 a year, based on a 10-year lifespan. And I do believe it'll go longer than that. I can't say that for sure, but that's what I think. I'll show you what it looks like. So I'm going to open this up just to show the roll, and I'm going to open it up for another reason too, because I'm not going to store this plastic in the box. I learned the hard way that you don't store plastic in a box. The reason being, if you're in an area where there's mice, they're going to go into the box, they're going to make a nest, and they're going to chew on the plastic eventually. I had that happen years ago with some plastic that I purchased from Northern Greenhouse Sales. I was going to make a greenhouse, I never got to it, and by the time I did get to it, after a few years, and I had the plastic stored in a shed, it was in rough shape. The mice had made a nest in the box, and they had chewed holes. Oh, they've got it bagged. Well, that's nice. I like that. And, okay. Yeah, well, they've got it bagged with the product itself. Isn't that something? I don't think I'm going to take it out of there. But that's it. This is the material. You can see it right there. Tough stuff. White on one side, black on the other. I put the white down. People ask, can you do it the other way around? I don't know why not, but I like the black up. And yeah, so there we go. What I'm going to do is make a couple slings for this. I'm going to hang this off the rafters in my shed. That's where I'm going to store it. There you go. 6mm UV resistant bunker cover plastic. This is a good investment, folks.